Hi there, this is Sean with CALGARY Audiovisual, and today we're going to learn how to set up one of our PA systems. So the first thing that we want to start with is power. I like to think about signal and power when I set up a PA system. So we're going to plug in our mixer, which is a PV6, and our NX25p Yorkville here. So to plug in all of our self-powered speakers, even though they are called self-powered speakers, they actually do need to be plugged in. We use these little computer power cables that look like this. I'm going to go ahead and plug that into the back. That's good. And then we're going to plug in our mixer with one of these barrel connectors. This is an 18-volt AC mixer. So if you've got a couple of power supplies from us, just make sure that you have the correct one. So that go ahead and plugs into the back, and then we just make sure that that power switch is depressed and that we see lights on the front of the mixer. So that's on, ready to go. Okay, so now both of our devices have power. I'm going to make sure that the mixer is powered on. That's the first thing that goes on and the last thing that goes off during our setup. That's so we don't get a pop in the audio system and potentially damage the speakers. Then we're going to leave the self-powered speaker off for the time being. And we're going to think about signal. So I'm going to connect two devices for this example. We're going to do a phone or any music device really is fine. You can use a phone, you can use a laptop, so on and so forth. We generally use these 3.5 millimeter cables. You can also do Bluetooth, so on and so forth, but these work on 90% of the cases that we see. If you've got one of those new Apple iPhones, you might need a Bluetooth connector from us. So we go ahead and connect that to the back of the phone. And then we're going to find the other end of this cable here. Okay, so this is the other end. That's what these look like. These are called TRS connectors, or 1/4-inch connectors. And we're going to go into channel 3. I like gray on the left and 4, red on the right. So we're going to plug it in like so. Okay, so now we're connected to the phone on this side and the mixer on this side. Anything that's plugged into this channel here, channel 3/4, is going to be controlled by this volume on the bottom here, and then that's going to feed the master. So anything else that we plug in here is going to have its own little volume control on it. So the next thing is the microphone. So that looks like this, and we're going to need an XLR connector. Okay, some people like to say these look like a smiley face. XLR connector. Okay, we're going to push that until it clicks. If you do need to release these cables, there's a release tab on the back. Never force a cable. Okay, now we're going to go ahead, and I like channel 1 for this. I'm going to double check that the trim is set in the common position, which for most dynamic microphones that we rent, it's going to be at 6. If you want to check it, you can talk really loud. Check, 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 and there'll be a red flash if you've overdone it. I'll just show you. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. So that's trimmed out. That's too hot. I'm going to turn it back down to 6 and give us some headroom. So you always want to back that off if you see any red. If you see any red on the speaker or on the board, start turning things down. The other thing I like to do, a little trick, I like to roll the bass off a little bit on the bottom there in microphones. I'll make sure that all of these are up the center and that also our pan control is up the center. Okay, so that's the microphone, and the last connection that we need to make is the speaker itself. So from the mixer to the speaker to carry the final mix signal down to the speaker. Okay, this is really important. Sometimes people get confused on this. You want the left connector here. We often mark them with tape for our clients. And it says main out left, and it clicks in right there. Now this only goes to the line-in connection on speakers. Never plug it to the mic in. Only microphones should be plugged into that. That's for if you're using the speaker as sort of a mixer, as a standalone unit by itself. which you can do for really, really simple setups. So line in. Okay, so now this PA system is ready to go. We're going to start testing things slowly. So I'm going to bring up my volumes really slow. I just turned my master down. That's the one on the side there. That's the master control, so that's down. Then I'm going to slowly turn up the microphone, just channel 1 right there, and a little bit on the master. Then I'm going to turn the speaker on finally. The speaker has a volume as well, which is on the back right here. And I'm going to slowly turn that up until I start to hear something. Check, 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 check. And there we go, that's ready to go. Good mic technique is 3 to 4 inches from the mouth, about like so. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off so I don't get any feedback. And now we're going to check our music device, in this case a phone. So all I did is I pushed play on the phone. I turned up the volume all the way on the device that we're using. That's always good, lots of signal for the board. And then you control it from the board. And then I just slowly bring up channel 3/4. That's the third control where you plugged in up top here. And you can also check the master. Check your EQs that they're up the middle and that the pan is centered. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you're running stereo, you would take the right channel here. Let's turn the speaker off so you don't get a pop again. And then you would plug in your second speaker with the right output. Everything else is identical on the back of the second speaker. You can also run mono if you'd like. If you have an extra XLR cable, you can go from mix out onto another speaker instead of out of the board. So if you take the right channel out of the board, that gives you stereo, and if you go from the mix out, that gives you a mono mix. That's fine if you're just running microphones, for example. Maybe you're shy on cables.